Now, a few variables that you're going to have to work with. The main things are going to be on your grinder, the grind size, how fine or how coarse your grind is. And the others are going to be how much coffee you actually put into your portafilter. We'll call that the dose. We also talk a little about tamping pressure, but that doesn't matter as much as maybe you've heard out there in the internet and other places.
That used to be a thing.
The used to be a big thing, yeah.
And knocking portafilters, and those are no longer really things in the espresso world.
You used to put the coffee in the portafilter, and then they'd tamp it, knock it, then make a little tamp again. And all that would do is loosen up the coffee on the edge of the filter basket, and the coffee go on the outside of the coffee, or water go around the outside of the coffee, and it wouldn't taste very good. So don't do that.
Okay.
Okay. One nice thing to have is a scale. That works pretty well. You can actually weigh the amount of coffee. You don't necessarily need it, but it helps. It's one of those things to help you be consistent. So what we're going to do is I'm going to grind some coffee here. First, put your filter or your portafilter on your scale. Hit your tare button. Zero it out.
What kind of a grinder we got going there, Todd?
Okay, this is a Chiato E6 semi-automatic.
It would be considered a dosing grinder, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what weight are we shooting for?
I'll shoot for about 16 grams, give or take a little bit. Okay, 17. Take off just a little bit. Now we kind of look how this is. One way, if you don't have a scale to measure, is to run your finger back and forth over the top, different directions so it's even. You see a little concave in there?
Yep.
That should be, if you do that, you'll be pretty consistent. Okay, now 17 grams, we'll go with that.
Okay.
Okay, tamp, I happen to have this fancy Espresso click tamp that tells you when you're 30 pounds, but you don't need that. I mean, it's nice. And just...
Now, what's most important about tamping? It's not necessarily the force, it's...
You want to be level.
Level.
And when you get done your tamp, you give a little polish, and make sure this is never wet. If this is wet, coffee will stick to it, and you'll have like a little hole in that. And then when you go to brew, the water goes through that, and that's what they call channeling.
Now, the tamping pressure isn't nearly as critical as people once thought it was, but it is critical to kind of try and use the same pressure.
Yeah, it's nice to
personally.
Yeah, you should do that just to be consistent.
Okay.
Okay, but you don't have to have 30 pounds. You can have 15 pounds, and that'll work just fine. There's something in between. Just be consistent. Okay. So the next thing you do is you put your handle in the machine, and then you can actually pull it out and look at it. Now you notice there's a little bit of water on there, but there's really no marks from the shower screen in there. That means we don't have too much coffee. You don't necessarily want so much coffee that you can't tighten the handle, or that you see marks in there on the screen in your coffee, because the coffee is going to expand as you're brewing.
Dale, if you're moving the coffee around by slamming it up against the top there, it could cause some channeling. And
yeah, it could do that too. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we want to get 2 ounces around 25 seconds. This machine here has a timer on it, or raise the lever up. It's probably going to take around 10 seconds for the coffee to start coming out. So I like starting my timer when the coffee actually comes out.
Yeah, I can see that timer back there.
Okay, we started around 9 seconds. I'll say 10 seconds so it's easier. So we're looking for about 35 seconds for 2 ounces.
So that's called timing it from the first drip?
Correct.
Sort of? Okay.
And we're 12 seconds into it already, so we're going to be a little bit slow. But this is just a guideline. This is not exact. What you'll find that also, some coffees you'll want to brew longer, some shorter. So we're 35 seconds, and we got about just a little over an ounce.
It's a little slow. So what would you do there if you really want to try and get it to the...
Well, I would make my grinder a little bit more coarse.
Okay. And
that's one thing you can do. In this one, you turn clockwise to make it more coarse.
Okay.
And now you're going to waste some coffee. Yeah.
Dialing in means wasting a little bit of coffee.
It does. You got to grind enough that you clean the coffee out of there.
Okay.
And actually, I'm going to grab a little tool real quick here, where I can kind of clean this chute out a little bit.
Okay.
Grind a little more.
And then you're going to kind of get rid of that coffee?
Exactly, because if you don't, then you'll have some of the old grind in there, and that'll confuse your shot time. Won't be right in the next one. Okay. Now we'll go again.
So the idea here is now use the same weight.
Yep, same weight.
With a different grind size.
Correct. Another nice thing to do is when you clean your portafilter out real good before you go on to your next shot.
Yep.
Okay. What did we use that last time?
17.
Yep. Okay. We'll go over 17 on this one. I didn't change it very much, so it may not change it very much, but this is how you would do it. One shot after, one after the next, till you get it dialed in. Okay. About 16 grams. Okay, 17.
Okay.
Again, got a little water on it, that would be bad. Make sure it's nice and dry. A level tamp. Little polish. Always wipe the coffee off the top of the filter basket here so it doesn't get up on the shower screen.
Right.
Or excuse me, on the group gasket. Because it'll start to leak eventually over that. Okay, let's go again. You see the timer from there?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Well, that came out and started at 6, and that is just
oh, it's just pouring out.
zipping out of there.
Okay, maybe I adjusted that a little too much. But that gives you an idea.
There's a double right there at about, yeah.
Yeah, in about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was too much of an adjustment.
Okay.
But hopefully you get the idea. Make little fine-tune adjustments with this. Mm-hmm. Keep your dosage the same. And you're shooting for 2 ounces in around 25 seconds. Now, once you get that 2 ounces in around 25 seconds, you start looking at the coffee also. You'll see it'll come out dark at first, and it'll start to get lighter. As you're getting lighter, you're going through, basically, you're cooking the coffee, all the good stuff out of it, and then so you should turn it off. It'll start getting bitter.
Okay.
So yeah, so you don't want it
to
to
go
start
too
going
long.
blonde. Exactly.
You get bitter. So when that color starts changing, it gets called blonding usually.
Yep.
Right?
Okay. And then you can look inside your portafilter like this, and you can look at it. Sometimes, no, that doesn't look too bad, but sometimes you may see little cracks in it, little divots or something like that. Not quite like this, but
Right.
that means you got channeling going on for some reason.
Where the water's found an easier way through the coffee, so you're not getting a
Exactly.
full extraction.
Yep. So you just, all the water's going through there. You're getting over-extracting that part of the puck, but not the rest of it. You're under-extracting that, so you're not going to get a great coffee. So I would kind of just, once you get the timing dialed in, then go by flavor. Then you just think, well, how does that taste? And the next time, make a change. Maybe dose it up a little bit more. Maybe you grind a little finer and slow the shot down. Do subtle changes and taste them and enjoy it.
The espresso is all about the variables, isn't it?
It's about the variables, it's about the art.
So you could go a little finer with less of a dose, or a little coarser, more of a dose, but that's going to change flavor.
Yep. Like say you find that if you're dosing at 17 grams and it's doing great, and next day you come back, the coffee's dried out a little bit, it's going to go a little finer. Maybe you want to up, instead of changing the grind setting, you may up dose a little bit. And you can control the flow that way also. So you have all these little tools you can use to do it, and I would say just play with it. Get the basics down, and also obviously the coffee. I've got to talk about the coffee. It's good to have a good quality coffee. You know, something that's properly stored, something that's fresh, and something that hopefully you will like. And that's the basics. That's how you get your grinder and machine dialed in. And for your professional baristas, I know you have other techniques. Maybe we'll go over it some other time, but that's the basics. I'm Todd from Whole Latte Love. I hope that helps.
Hey, why not subscribe now for easy free access to more videos on everything coffee, brought to you by WholeLatteLove.com.